I work in the food and agriculture landscape, and globally, we're actually facing a bigger crisis with climate, economic trends, sending more people into hunger and poverty, and it's not unique to one continent. So when I think about systems change through my work, what I'd like to just share are a few guiding principles that I think as we move into this space, we should keep in mind. The first one is the importance of partnering with local organizations. So I realized with systems change and systematic approaches to deploying financing that if we do not work with local organizations, oftentimes when there is a crisis, capital is the first thing to flee. And obviously, if you're doing systems change, you need a long-term horizon. In food and agriculture, it has to be at least 5 to 7 years to see change happen. If we're going to stick with transformation in any sector, we need the local organizations because they will stick through the crisis, they'll stick through the shocks, and they will be right there scaling when all the funding has disappeared. And so that's my first guiding principle is every time you have the opportunity, don't assume that there are no local organizations to work with. Find them, empower them, and where you can, transfer knowledge, innovation, and skills to them. The second guiding principle is really one of humility. And we keep learning and unlearning in this space of what is working and what is not working. 4 years ago, I created a movement called African Food Change Makers. And the reason I created this movement was because oftentimes we try to solve problems in silos. And so now we have members in 40 African countries, and we share data, training, research, funding, and markets across the board. Now, the power of community and doing things at scale is important. But through this process, I've learned and unlearned how to fund and build a tech business because it's really a different type of structure. So for investors, system changers, please remember that you have to keep learning and unlearning what works in what environments because it's not one size fits all. And I think that's the message you have. And then the final one, which I think is really important, is that we have to put women at the forefront of any systems change investing. And I know many people say, oh, this gender lens people have come again and gender lens investing, but we're not seeing any movement. I think the last statistics showed that only 2 to 5% of climate financing goes to women-run fund managers. Only 2 to 5%, depending on this data, goes to women-run organizations. And so why is that why isn't any class of investment going to women? That's a question. And what percentage should we commit if we're thinking about transforming the landscape to fund women? Because it does make business sense. Women are seen to be fantastic fund managers. Women understand systems thinking. Women have been at the forefront of systems change in many, many ecosystems, and yet the financing landscape has not been transformed to put women at the forefront. So as we design this new financial infrastructure, how can we put women at the forefront? For me, those guiding principles around localization, around humility, and around women and gender lens investing are critical.